All right, guys, so for today, you're going to study density. One more time, we're going to actually review this part before we start actually something completely new for the second semester of chemistry. The first part in here, you're going to be able to perform a lab experiment using the density formula in order to identify how it influences whether an object sinks or floats in a fluid. Okay, so for the first part in here, you see the two circles, right? In the first part, you look at the right side, it says white, and the left, flammable. You're going to look at the ingredients or materials that you have there at the bottom. You're going to tell me whether they're white or flammable or actually both. In here, just make sure that you understand that you have baking soda. Baking soda, when we're talking about chemistry, is the same thing as sodium bicarbonate, okay, which is actually a white powder in a room temperature. What happened when you put water on it? Nothing happens to the baking soda, right? Now, it is completely different than when you actually add the vinegar on the baking soda. What do you see in there? Actually, like a bubble reaction, right? So this is actually something that you need to see whether it's actually a change that is physical or a change that is actually chemical. Okay, so this is basically just a review for you. Remember, for the physical property, you have the mass, volume, melting point, you have the boiling point, color, texture, and smell. Nothing changes. Everything stays the same. The same thing if you tear a paper, a piece of paper, or you actually step on it and leave marks on it, it's still a paper. The physical property of the paper stays the same. Now, when you actually use the wood, what happens with the wood once you actually turn it on, like in the chimney? It actually burns. So that's actually what? A physical or a chemical property? That's actually a chemical property. So for this part right here, you're going to look at this bubble map. In the center, there are two examples of the different marbles, okay? On the left side, you see that there's actually a little bit more movement inside the box that has the marble. Now, if you look at the right side, it has a lot more marbles, making what? If you look at the numbers, which one has more density? The one to the left or the one to the right? Remember that density is mass divided by volume. So in here, what I want you to do, in the center, you're going to write the word density. You can put it here on top of the two marble boxes, okay? And then what I want you to do before you start like crazy filling up the bubbles, you're going to read this part right here. And I'll help you with the first part. There are 3 paragraphs, okay? If you look in the first paragraph, it says density is a measurement that tells us how much matter is packed into a certain space. It's like comparing how many marbles you can fit into a jar. If you can fit a lot of marbles in, the jar has a high density. If you can only fit a few marbles in, the jar has a low density. So the density is actually calculated by dividing mass of the object by its volume. This means that if an object has a lot of mass in a small space, there is actually a high density. So what I want you to write first in here for the first paragraph is that density is mass divided by volume. Okay? What is another thing that you read in here? When you have what? A jar full of marbles, that means that there's more density. A jar with few marbles has low density. Okay? That's actually what it says on the first paragraph. You're going to do the same thing for the second and third paragraph, and it is going to be graded today. When you go here for the bubble map, like I said before, you're going to put here density. Okay? And then in each one of them, you can put mass divided by volume. What else did I say on the other when I took the notes? Jar full of marbles. It's high density. Okay? Jar with less marbles. Marbles equals to low density. Okay? So you're going to actually fill out all the bubbles according to what it says on the text here. So you have 2 more paragraphs, which for a total of what? 5 more bubble maps, okay? Once you're done, then you're going to start in this part. In this one, what you're going to do, it's basically you're going to use this lab, and then you're going to follow the instructions accordingly. So once you have this section, it says you have the density lab. You're going to go straight to this lab. But before you start the lab, just make sure that you understand what it says in here. You're going to make a prediction first about density of the objects, and you're going to list them from highest density to the lowest density. Remember, the highest density means that any object is going to sink, when the low density means that an object is going to float, okay? So you have all these materials. You have gold, lead, actually, you have, no, so you're going to use gold, lead, foam, ice, iron, wood, rubber, and the mystery object. So don't forget about the mystery object, because you don't know what it is. But for the other 7 of them, you're going to write them in here. You're going to tell me which one do you think has highest, from the highest to the lowest density. After that, you're going to go to this lab, and you're going to follow the instructions. In the first part in here, it says select and turn liquid into water. Okay, so turn fluid into water. All right, you're going to wait until this arrow stops. Which is around 28.28. Okay, so you're going to put in here 28. Okay, you're going to use the text. Okay, so that would be your ending product, your ending volume. So 28 minus, and then in here it says that you're going to start with gold. So let me go to the simulation if I can open it. So you're going to go to gold. Okay, and then you're going to do 28 minus 27.6. So minus 27.6, and you're going to write the number. You're going to do some calculations. That's going to be the volume. Then now for the weight, you're going to click on T for the text. You're going to go back to your lab. Okay, you're going to take this out. And you see that the grams is actually 40, the mass is 40.53. So you're going to write in here 40.53. And then what are you going to do in here? You're going to use the 40.53, you're going to divide it by the volume number that shows in here. And then you're going to do this for each one of the materials, okay? Once you're done in here, okay, because remember you have the mystery one in here, so you're going to use for all of them. You're going to click where it says randomize. Okay, and then for the randomize, you're going to start following the instructions. It says now you are going to reset, then select randomize. Okay, did I click the reset? No, I did not. Okay, okay, just try to have it in any size. It doesn't matter, to be honest. Just have it in any size. And then start experimenting in here. What's up with the weight? What's going on with the volume, density, and what object do you think it could be? Okay, and this part right here for the randomize, you're going to go by the density. Based on the density number, that's actually how you're going to know the material. So if the density is close to the number that you had for gold, that means that actually that material was gold. So the first part is very important for you guys to do it really well, especially for the density portion. Okay, after that, you're going to have your exit ticket. So it shows you in here, you have in a container of water, the regular Coke, okay, sinks. But then for the Diet Coke, it actually floats. Look at the volume. For both of them, it's actually the same. Now look at the mass. Which one has highest or higher mass? It's actually the regular Coke. So what you're going to do is that you're going to compare the mass, volume, and density of the two sodas, and then you're going to choose the correct statement to complete each sentence. For the first part in here, it says the mass of the Diet Coke is what? Is it Diet Coke or regular? It's less than the mass of the Diet or regular Coke. So the answer is right there. For the volume, what do you think is happening in here? Is it greater than, less, or equal? Density. Now you're going to use for each one of them, you're going to remember, get the density, which is mass divided by volume. So you're going to take the 370 divided by 355 for the Diet Coke and the 384 divided by 355 for the regular Coke. And then you're going to get the answer to that. Now, what I want you to do at the last part in here, it says write one paragraph, the answer to the statement. The statement is this, okay? Why does this happen? Why is it that the Coke sinks and the Diet Coke floats? So you're going to use here what's going on with the mass, volume, and density. Which one is greater? Which one is less? And why do you think is that? Remember, anything that is above 1, that means that any object is going to sink. Any object that is less, that its density is actually less than 1, that means that the object is going to float. After that, you're going to click in here, find the answer. It says what happens to the density of an object when you squeeze it. Do you think it's going to become less? Do you think it's going to stay the same? Do you think it's going to be denser? Or do you think the color is going to change? And you're going to actually do this for the 3 questions. They're different. Just make sure to actually choose the correct question, the correct answer. Now, explain why did you pick the answer. Don't worry about this section. Just make sure to select the best choice, okay? And then the last one in here, it says, how is density like comparing marbles in a jar? I already explained you this part at the beginning of the video. And then the second one is, what 2 things can change the density of an object? Okay, what 2 things can change the density of an object? Look at the formula, okay? Look at the formula, guys. All right, all the best. Remember, I'll be here in class, so if you have any questions, just try to go through that. Try to do it your own first, and then if you have any questions, just let me know.